Welcome to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm Woody Zimmerman here with Mark Skabowski of Remax Lakes. Welcome to the show.
Here we are, morning.
Good morning. And last week we were talking about home values and so forth. We're going to continue that conversation as well.
Yeah. So affordability is key for all of us.
Yep.
On not only homes but everything that's going on. And housing values have appreciated over the last 5, 6, 7 years. It's gone nuts.
Yeah, they have.
And statistics I pulled show about a 61% in the state of Indiana.
Wow.
Increase over that time frame, over 5 years.
I thought it was like 30%.
It's 60%.
That's a lot.
61.4 if you want to be exact, over 5 years.
Yeah.
Now that's the whole state, not just Kosciuszko County.
Yeah.
Be tough for me to pull just Kosciuszko County. It's more math than I would probably be capable of doing.
Yeah.
But so I'm using a statewide average, 61.4% over 5 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is.
To where how much equity is locked up in people's houses. If you think back, used to be every 7 years people moved. Now that number has gone up to 10 years. So people have been in their homes 10 years.
Yeah.
In general, you probably did a 30-year mortgage if you had a mortgage. I doubt you did. Many people did a 15, some did 10s. So if you were 10, you're paid off now, right? Which is a good place to be, is to not have a mortgage. But if you were in a 30-year mortgage, you're a third of the way through over 10 years.
Yeah.
How are you sitting? How much equity do you have locked up in your home? And, the whole point of the show and the show last week was it's a good idea to know what the value of your home is so you can make some decisions, whatever those decisions may be. And we'll talk a little bit more as you get near the end. I hate to say near the end, but closer to retirement age, it's really important because all of that equity you've got tied up in your home probably will be used for some of your retirement.
Yeah.
It's not just about your 401k, it's about your entire financial plan.
Right.
So, but if you're not in that stage yet and you just want a ballpark number for, hey, how much is my home worth? There are automated valuation models out there, and every website's got something. I send out emails to clients, hey, are you interested in the value of your home? They click a link and it pops up, there's your number.
Okay.
Well, those show averages, age, condition, location, all of those things, but they're not specific because they have no idea about upgrades. Because what they're doing is looking at county tax records, and maybe you put you did an improvement, you finished your basement, which isn't reflected in the county tax records.
Right.
How would that equate?
It's kind of like an algorithm.
It's just an algorithm.
Yeah.
To get you in the ballpark. So when people come to me and say, well, Zillow says my house is worth X, or Realtor.com says my house is worth X, well, let's take a look at your house and let's see how accurate that is. And if it's in a highly dense, condensed area, population, or number of homes that are all similar size, age, configuration, all of those things, the price on those AVMs will probably be in the ballpark.
Okay.
If you're in a county like ours where we've got lakes, we've got city, we've got farm, you've got acreage, you've got different sizes.
Yeah.
It's hard
Yeah.
for an AVM to accommodate all of those things. So, if you don't want to put much effort into it, click a link, get an AVM, and be happy with it. But it's important that you know more closely, as I started the example where you've been in your house 10 years, you've got a 30-year mortgage, how much equity is in there, and you want to buy a new car. Can you take a home equity line to buy the new car? Or a home equity line to buy something different? Does that make sense? Do you have enough equity to do that? I'm not making any recommendations for somebody on the finance side. What's the best solution for you? But with interest rates where they are, you can compare those things. If you want to make improvements to your house, should you pay cash for it and do an equity line? Well, if you have $300,000 worth of equity in your house and you want to make some improvements to that because you're getting it ready to sell, maybe an equity line would be the way to do that instead of draining your cash or selling other assets to do that.
Right.
So what's the whole purpose? Know what the value of your house is so you have an idea how much equity you've got built up into that. And you can use that equity, if you're going to be there from now till the dawn of time, using that equity is not a bad situation to be. Just understand you're now adding to your debt. You're going to have another payment, but it could offset or be better than taking cash out of and making those improvements. Everybody's got to make that decision. So
Right.
that's an important piece. You can think about refinancing your house. You know, okay, Mark, that's dumb. My interest rate's 3.25%. Why would I go to 7%? Let's use that person who's been in a house for 30 or for 10 years on a 30-year mortgage. And they've been paying ahead. That balance may be lower, even though the interest rate is a little bit higher, a lot higher, 6.5% or 7% compared to the 3.25%. You're financing on a lesser amount.
Okay.
So perhaps you can take that 30-year mortgage, refinance into a 10 at the same payment, even at a higher rate if you've been paying ahead.
And you could save money.
And you could save money long term. So don't get married to that rate at that 3.25% that you have. You need to look at it. And maybe I'm full of hooey. I don't know. I haven't run the numbers
Well,
myself.
you have to run the
see.
numbers. I mean,
You've got to run the numbers.
You're putting out some ideas out
Right.
there that a lot of people don't think. Like you were talking about PMI last week.
Yeah.
And the value of your home, that could change where you can get rid of the PMI.
You can get and bank those savings or apply
Correct.
it to your principal
Yeah.
and pay your mortgage off soon.
Yeah,
because
just-
right now that $100 a month or $200 a month or $50 a month is going to paying insurance. You can apply it to principal and reduce the term of your mortgage.
Yeah, you're pulling out some ideas that most people just don't think of because they don't live in that world.
Well, if you're not thinking about it, you're not thinking about it.
Right.
So and after the break, we can talk about a couple other things, finishing up this topic on the importance of knowing your home value.
Okay, very good. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Welcome back. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm Woody Zimmerman here with Mark Skabowski of Remax Lakes, and we've been just talking about home values, and you were just talking about HELOCs with your getting a home equity line of credit
to make some improvements.
to make some improvements.
And
Yep.
then at the tail end, before the break, we were talking about refining.
And refi, yes, yeah.
To get that. Well, perhaps there is a refi that's a cash out refi.
Okay.
And I'm not a proponent for any of these methods. You got to run the numbers and talk to your lender and see what makes the most sense for you.
Right.
But you could do, instead of a home equity line, which you now have a primary mortgage and a secondary mortgage, you could do a cash out refinance. Take that money, improve your property, because hey, we want a pool, right? Now, whether that's an improvement or not, 50% of the people say it
Yeah,
is,
that's
50% say it is not.
Yeah.
But you want to do some improvements to your house. A cash out refinance may be the option to do that. You refi again if you've owned your house for a significantly amount of time. You paid down a large amount on your principal. Take out that refi. Take the cash out. You've still got a mortgage, yes, but maybe the payment is less and you get the improvement, even with a higher interest rate. Again, you've got to run the numbers in order to do that. And sitting down, if all you have to do is Google it, cash out refinance. You can talk to a lender. Again, Google's great. It gets you some thoughts.
Yeah.
But I would specifically talk to a lender because, the rates that you see when you Google refinance rates, they're not always 100% accurate.
Right, because the rate that you're going to get is going to be tied specifically to your financial situation.
To your financial situation, your credit score, your specific location, all of those things. So, you can use the internet to get in the ballpark, but then find a local lender to sit down and talk about, and they'll advise you if it's a good decision for you or not. They'll show you the numbers. I mean, that's important. If you're not, if you're afraid, hey, I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to not be able to calculate this correctly, talk to the lenders. They do it every day. Let them guide you down the right path. They're not the enemy.
No,
they're not the enemy.
I mean,
they're there. They ultimately they would like to sell a mortgage. They would like to get a mortgage.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they don't want to get a mortgage to the risk of taking the mortgage back.
Exactly. Yeah.
They don't want to sell you something.
Yeah, because banks, they don't want to be in the real estate business.
Correct.
They don't want that to happen. So
they do not.
Yeah, they want to make sure it's you got a safety net that is foolproof, that you're not going to default.
You're at the best possibility of getting that loan paid back.
Yeah.
They don't want to put you in a negative position.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. So with that HELOC, with making the improvements, all of those things that we're talking about, that all goes into, hey, I'm thinking of selling in 2 years. I'm thinking of selling in 3 years. I'm thinking of selling in 4 years. I'm thinking of selling next year. All of those things come into play. When's the best time for you to sell your house?
Right.
And knowing the value is really important for you in how much am I going to have to apply to the next house I'm going to buy. Or, you know what, I'm not going to buy again. I'm going to rent from now till the end of time because I want to move around. I want to do something different. But knowing the value of your house and using that equity that you hold in that property can bring with it some not only financial advantage, but maybe personal advantage. Maybe you do nothing. You know, I talked to a lady this week who, you know, she said, Mark, I owe $1,400 on my house. She didn't even know how much her balance was. She's almost paid off.
Wow.
I mean, she's been in there, they've been paying ahead. She's at, you know, 20 years on her mortgage, but they've been paying ahead. Oh, it's $1,400. Her mortgage will be paid off.
Wow.
And
That's
she's looking
awesome.
at buying a vacation home. She says, well, yeah, I talked to somebody and they said, well, they've got a lot of equity in their house, not a lot of cash in the bank. She says, well, you know, I'd like to buy a second home so, you know, us and the kids can go to the lake and do this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I talked to somebody and they said I needed 25% down, which I said, well, I don't necessarily know that that's the case. You need to talk to a couple of different lenders because everybody's got different programs.
Yeah.
But maybe you can use some of the equity from your house. Now, I'm not making any financial decisions for them, just giving them options.
Yeah, just some
when
ideas.
it comes to that. Some
Right.
other options. You know, do a home equity line on your house and you can pay cash for that second home. Now, there's goods and bads to that. Your home's almost paid off. Now, do you want to put that back?
You're using that as collateral.
You're using it as collateral.
So if you default on that loan, you could
Correct.
lose, you know.
Correct.
But
But everybody's got to make those decisions on their own.
Right.
And ultimately, estate planning. Again, at this stage in my life, right, I'm 60 years old. I'm thinking about, you know, hey, the house that I've been in and been paying for 25 years.
Yep.
What can I use that equity for? Can that buy the home, whether I stay here in Warsaw, you know, or whether I buy a place 6 months I'm in Florida, 6
Yeah.
months I'm here in Warsaw, whatever that is. If we sell here, can I use those proceeds to buy whatever I want to do on vacation or in
Yeah,
retirement?
yeah.
A lot of people are thinking that same thing that are in my age group.
Yeah.
You know, we're thinking, hey,
I'm thinking about it.
let's take advantage of what we've done through the years to do that. Now, you know, maybe you don't have to do that. For myself, I would have a hard time holding a property here and a property somewhere else.
Yeah.
Either having to get a mortgage or drain investment assets to pay cash to buy something somewhere else. It's all going to be part of your financial plan. And that estate planning is huge. Alder Bergen puts that in my head when I sit down with Alan every time. He's, Mark, we need to plan, we need to plan, we need to plan.
Yep.
That's where I'm at this point. Now, we started planning years ago so that we're ready when the time comes. But
Right.
don't be afraid to use that equity in your house.
Yeah, okay. All right. Great information. If you'd like to continue this conversation with Mark, make sure you reach out your contact info.
Phone number is 574-527-0660. Give me a call.
All right, very good. You've been listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Have yourself a wonderful weekend.